Hit the music. Let's go!
I was just doing another poll. Sorry.
Hello. Welcome to Luke and Lewis. I don't know if that's going to be left in. I wasn't intending
What was that? Hello.
I don't know. Hello. Welcome to the episode. I'm Lewis Spears. I'm joined with my co-host Luke Kidgel. Keelan's here, and so is Ruben. Hello.
Hello.
We're being careful to make sure that we have a good first impression here, because we actually did a little bit of a poll over on our Instagram about everyone's vibes, and the results are all over the place. We asked you guys if Ruben's vibes were off. 71% yes, 29% no. He's fuming.
I am going to second that. I agree. Your vibes were switched off. Just before we started, Keelan politely asked you if you could do a clap to help sync the audio with the video, and you refused. And I think that shows that vibes are not present.
Yeah.
That was out of spite in retaliation for Keelan.
I
posting
know.
that on
That's
Instagram.
why your vibes are off. It was,
Keelan,
of course, it was
I don't think that
spiteful.
was a biased poll. It's not a biased question. It says, are Ruben's vibes off? Yes, no. It wasn't vote yes. It wasn't, are Ruben's vibes clearly off? It was an unbiased question.
I
but
would say
obviously
it's a
the people
leading
voted
question.
yes.
No, I think the reason why, and it shows why the poll is correct, people on Instagram can clearly vibe check us pretty well, because Ruben's hating the results, and which means his vibes are off. I haven't checked. I'm up there as well.
Well,
There's
that's
one
what I
of
wanted.
me.
So, Ruben, you were saying that it was
Luke's
a loaded
vibes
question.
off.
Is that right?
43% say yes. I don't even care. I think that's pretty funny.
I don't think it can be a loaded question, because we asked the same question about Keelan. And Keelan's vibes off. The only difference is a picture of Keelan, and the yes is a 49% yes. So you've just scraped by there, Keelan, with a 2% margin. Your vibes are actually not off. Congratulations. Luke's sitting at 50-50, so undecided, not sure about his vibes.
Refresh champ, 43-57. Thank you.
Okay, well, I'm
I sound like bloody Ruben.
I'm coming
Caring
in with,
about the results now.
I'm coming in with a great result. Does Lewis have good vibes? 79% yes. So I clearly have got the best vibes in this call, and you all need to lift.
How is that possible?
I would
All
say,
of you
to
guys
be
need to
fair,
lift.
the photo taken of me is a blurry picture of my side profile. Ruben is, Keelan's the, Lewis. I don't even know who you guys are. Lewis is the only one looking at the camera, giving a thumbs up,
I was ready
radiating
for
great
my
vibes.
photo, yeah.
A little bit biased, the polls,
Yeah.
but regardless, we have been vibe checked, so therefore vibes should be on point now
We're
for
gonna
the
have
rest
to
of the
step it up.
episode. And we
I'm hoping to
appreciate you guys
inspire
vibe checking
and
us.
lead the way.
Yeah, please lead us with your great vibes, Lewis. What are we kicking off with today?
Good vibes will be provided in the Patreon, the Discord server, this Thursday, 9 p.m. We are going to be doing free time. We used to do movie night. We ran out of good movies. So this time, 9 p.m., we're going to be sitting in the voice chat with you guys doing free time. This is just a leisure activity. There is a strict ban on studying. There is to be no studying, no learning. This is only leisure. You can read, but it's got to be a fiction book.
I'm going to put a flat out ban, and I'm sorry for I haven't consulted you on this, but I'm just going to put a flat out ban on productivity altogether.
Yeah.
That's
I
what
would
free
agree
time
with
is
that.
all about. It's kind of it's really wasted time. You want to get to the end of the hour and be like, I achieved nothing. How good?
Yes. Yeah. I'm going to be playing video games. Keelan's going to be smashing a Zinger box. We all have plans. Keelan's probably going to be inventing a new board game. Maybe we could play it at the end of free time.
Ruben?
Keelan? He said Keelan. Which
I assume Keelan won't be inventing a board
My vibes
game.
are on. My brain is off.
No, I'm not
Unless
that much
it's
of a nerd.
Zingopoly or something like that. You know?
Zingopoly. I'd play that.
You get a go bucket every time you pass go.
Square.
All right. So yes, come join us on Patreon. Now, Lewis,
What do you want?
it's time to do a segment that we're only ever going to do once, where we're really just it's a live flushing of the emails essentially. Getting a little bit clogged up. Ruben goes through them now, so he's now the one on the show that likes to complain about the quality of emails sent in.
I think
and he actually
maybe I think maybe the emails, because I actually was going through them before the show. That actually might be the source of my poor vibes today.
Yeah, true. That might be your guys' fault. Actually, maybe your vibes are so bad that they've turned Ruben's off.
And as someone who used to go through the emails quite regularly, I blame that for my vibes being off for about the first 6 months of this year on the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like I brought really negative vibes towards the audience. I've been known in the past to be the number one hater of our fan base. I'm right at the top, but now Ruben coming in, he's climbing the ranks and he's fucking filthy. Every time he comes on the Zoom calls, he goes, boys, I've got a new segment. It's called Shit Thoughts, right? We're going to read out. He goes, we're going to read out all the shittest thoughts that we get in the email. And he was furious. And as someone who's been in his position before, I was all for the segment. All right.
Yeah.
I think we need
Luke
to
and I haven't seen these thoughts. We didn't need Ruben to clear these bias because we know from experience, if someone says they have a fucking shithouse email that's so bad it needs to be flamed, we'll just take your word for it, mate. I don't think that's hard to believe at all.
Wonderful. And these are just from October, to be clear. I haven't,
the month isn't
been
even
digging
over.
through. I don't want to ruin the rest of my year. So these are just from October. So once off, and then that'll be it.
Great.
And we do not want this to encourage bad correspondence to our emails. This is, and I cannot stress enough,
we're never doing this again.
We're not encouraging this type of content being brought to the show. We're almost outing these people.
This
it's
is
really
an example
exposing.
Of what not to do.
I'll be saying first and last names on mine. I'm not afraid.
Oh, okay, great. I've been spending a bit of time on Bing. I'll be revealing home addresses and places of work.
Okay, great. Well, let's do some. And by the way, boys, because we are flushing out the turds of our emails, we will be instead of the regular sound effect, each thought today will be backed by a nasty flush.
That's very good.
Because there's actually, these thoughts are so bad, there's actually nothing to think about. I've already read my two, and I didn't even go, in my brain. I went,
Okay, that's good. All right.
Okay, well,
So,
my first
do
one,
you have
Lewis.
the first two, and I've got the bottom two? Is that how we're running it?
Yeah.
No,
My
Lewis
first
has
one.
Lewis, just to be clear, Lewis has the top two, I think.
Okay.
My first one
Continue.
comes in from Nathan Little. I'm assuming related to Stuart. Up and
Nathan
go.
Little Brain.
Yeah, perhaps. Up and go is considered a liquid breakfast. Should I read it how he writes it? Because it just makes it
word
better.
for word. Yeah.
Okay, I'm reading word for word, but this isn't me being dumb for once. Could you cereal be considered a liquid breakfast?
What?
He meant to say, could cereal be considered a liquid breakfast? But he just randomly put the word you in there to polish off a turd of a thought.
Well, no, dickhead.
And I'll tell you why, Lewis.
Yeah.
Because cereal is a solid.
Yeah, that's
End
why.
of discussion.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Move on.
Yeah, you're
Up
a
and
fucking
go?
idiot.
Is a liquid.
Hey,
Cereal
what's his name?
is the liquid is milk, which is not
name?
the cereal. You put milk with cereal. Nathan Little.
Hey, Nathan Little. Up and go fuck yourself, you idiot. Shit thought.
Got him.
All
right.
Ben, good Ben. I've got one from Lewis Cabin at 43 Wallaby Way, Sydney. He says
That makes me angry because you fucked up the address from Finding Nemo.
Did I? I got the street right. Whatever. He lives next door.
It's 42.
Yeah, he lives next door.
Yeah, he's the
Whatever.
neighbor of the
He's
dentist.
The neighbor. Yeah. Why does the
Oh no, it's the
front?
scuba diver.
Why? I don't even understand this one. Why does the front camera flip the photo horizontally and not vertically? Oh, you're a fucking idiot, bro.
That's just stupid. So
He
Does
means
he
like a
mean the-
mirror.
Does he
that what he
mean
means?
the mirroring? But
Yeah,
horizontal and vertical are opposites. Like horizontal is landscape. vertical is portrait.
Why would
He's
it-
worded it very confusingly.
But imagine if you looked in a mirror. What he means is like, imagine if you looked in a mirror and you were fucking upside down. Is that what he means?
No. So because when
Just
you
talking
use the
about
selfie
it being
camera-
mirrored.
Yeah, when you use a selfie camera on your phone, it flips the image so it looks like you're looking in a mirror.
Yes.
But it does that that's not because of the optics of the lens. That's just because the manufacturer flips the image so you don't get confused about how you're holding your phone, how you're looking at yourself. Right? So why the fuck would they manufacture it so it flips the image vertically?
That's what I mean. Like, why would you go selfie mode and you're fucking upside down?
Yeah.
I think we knew what they were trying to say, but they've worded it incorrectly.
What do
I
you
think
think
they were
trying to
just
say?
What
saying,
were they trying to say?
why does the I think they were just going for why does the manufacturer mirror the selfie cam? Right?
No.
That's all they had to say.
It
But
says
I think they're
horizontally and not vertically.
Yeah. Unless, Luke, do you think he doesn't
I'm trying
know
to
what
sympathize with a fellow small brain here, but even I'm fucking confused on this one. I think I'm trying to empathize.
Do you
I don't
think
know.
maybe he doesn't know what horizontal and vertical means?
Yeah, I think so.
That
I think that's
actually
the
makes
problem.
sense. That must be what he thinks, because no one would ask, why doesn't the phone turn me upside down? Surely that's not a serious question. Maybe he thinks horizontal means opposite and vertical means
Hang on.
normal. Like,
You can. Yeah, I was just checking. I just that you could do it. You can do it horizontally and vertically.
oh,
Yeah, it
maybe
doesn't
that's
matter.
what he means. But that doesn't
Maybe he
make sense
literally
either.
means flipping it landscape or portrait. But either way, it doesn't make sense because you can.
But that would flip depending on
And
however you're holding
Lewis-
the phone.
Lewis,
Yeah.
that's why we're flushing it away. Okay, If we don't even talking about this is usually why we don't bring these to the show.
That one
Because
makes
trying
me
to
angry.
comprehend some of these emails makes your brain hurt.
Yeah. I can't even step into this mind. It's too small. There's no room for me.
I feel like we've given it too much time of day.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Lewis.
Xavier subjected he's, like in the subject line of the email, with just
He
a
put he's in
terrible
it.
thought.
Oh.
And yet I'm still not going to be the biggest dickhead after making that mistake.
Okay.
So he said a terrible thought, right? So
Oh, at least he's self-aware.
he's not even confident.
Actually, that's even worse. Knowing that you've sent in a poo thought and then hitting send anyway. Like, what are you doing? Hit delete. There's a different button for that.
Who named the countries? Love the show, boys.
Is that it?
Who named the countries? 4
Okay,
words.
that's not a thought. That's a question. So fundamentally, even if it was a good question, it's not the segment. All right. Also, obviously, whatever country or language you speak named the other countries, but also the countries named themselves. We call Japan Japan. They call it Nippon.
It's just like. But does he? No, I think
Classic
Xavier
Nippon. Yeah.
thinks that like one person,
One guy.
sat down one day and was like naming all of them. Like it happened in one day. Like he's like, all right, this one's that one's this. It just happened
True.
over time. It's kind of like saying who invented language in general or English
Yeah.
or any type of language. It's like it just evolves.
This guy
You know?
reckons that one guy discovered all the countries in one go
In one
and was
day.
like, and people like, oh, why don't we call this one fucking American? He's like, no. There's a few more to discover, and then we'll start naming them. And he goes, well, how will we keep track of all of it? He goes, don't worry, I've got this shit. It's in
Maybe
here.
they're probably just like writing, going to every beach, penciling in a name on a flag, and obviously you could
Yeah.
rub it out, and then moving on to the next place, then
they were
revisiting
numbered.
it. Perhaps. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really know how to answer that other than what we just said, but
Well,
hope that answers your
I
question.
think that thought is so bad, particularly because it doesn't fit the definition of the segment. It's thoughts that you think of, not questions that you have. So like we were like, oh, do you have any thoughts? And this guy was like, no, but could you give me one? Okay, so I think that this submission is so bad, we need a different sound effect. And could you please flush that down, Luke?
There we go.
Thank you.
They sound remarkably similar, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They go together hand
Imagine
in hand.
having so much sizzler that your shit sounds like a flush. Like your body's just flushing
It
itself.
sounds like a high-pitched flush.
Lewis, you've got one more there from Josh D.
Now, boys, controversial opinion I'm bringing to the show here. I actually read this thought, and I remember thinking, that's fucking good, right? But now I come to do this segment of terrible thoughts, and I find this thought that I thought was great in the terrible thought segment. So I'm going to go ahead and, before I read the thought, say that I think this is a wrong decision, but I'm open to
Okay.
your opinions. I actually like this thought. And after I read it, Ruben, I want to
Yep.
know why you think it sucks, okay?
Easy.
So this one comes in from Josh D. So I guess that's shot for D's nuts.
I was going to
Hey,
say that. But
Hey, boys. This
Cool.
might be a shit thought, but I'm going to send it anyway. Is fairy bread a pizza? Because a pizza is just a piece of bread with toppings on it, and fairy bread is also just a piece of bread with toppings on it. So does that make fairy bread a type of pizza? Cheers, boys. Josh D's
When
nuts.
the fuck are you buying pizza? When does your meat lovers ever come on Wonder White? Come on, mate.
Well, okay. Yeah, okay. The bread thing throws that out a little bit. But, you know, sometimes you do get a dessert pizza, like a Nutella pizza, and that will have toppings on it. I don't
No.
think that's that bad.
Listen, you can't define a pizza that loosely. This guy, if we follow this guy's logic, if I made a sandwich and took the top piece of bread off, now I have a fucking pizza? Absolutely not. That's
Is
ludicrous.
peanut butter on bread a pizza? It's
Okay.
not.
Yeah, true.
It's
Also, you don't
offensive
really
to
bake
Italians
fairy
in
bread a
general.
pizza oven.
No, you don't bake it. There's no baking involved. What
Yeah.
defines a pizza, I think, is firstly it's different bread. It's dough. Like it's different.
Yeah.
It's cooked differently. It's made differently.
Okay.
I could keep
this
going
is a
with the
good
differences.
thought, and let me tell you why. It's provoked discussion. Okay, whereas none of the other ones, just the only thing it provoked was you're a fucking fool. This one, we're talking about the definition of pizza. I think this is not a terrible thought.
I think it's provoked discussion because we had to explain to you the difference between fairy bread and a pizza. Because you read that and went, oh geez, he's got a point, you know? You read that and went, that shit tracks, when in reality did not track.
Okay, I see what you mean here. I'm going to retract my previous opinion. This is not a good thought. This is a dumb thought.
Yes. And yeah, that kind of peaked with Josh D's nuts. So
We'll flush that away. We'll never do that segment ever again. It's down the tubes, that.
So guys, that was shit thoughts. I'll be disappointed if it becomes a fan favorite because we don't want people submitting garbage to get on that segment. You know, it's definitely going to be a one-time thing,
Never to
or
be
just
done
whenever
again.
we need to have a big old flushing of the emails.
Yep. All right. Well, that's great. We're going to be talking about the new Borat film a little bit later.
Yeah,
But
I watched it last night.
before we do that,
Before we do that, Lewis.
yeah.
Oh yeah, wait, go. You were going to go into something.
Oh, we got some tales from Frankston, I think.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say maybe we should do that a little later as well. Because
Okay.
we just did a segment.
All right. What do you have then?
Well, I have. It's not really a gripe. It's more of just I wanted you to clear the air. We all know
Okay.
that you're not the biggest sports fan
Yeah.
in the world.
Uh-huh.
Last year took you 2 weeks, or 1 year in the radio. It took you 2 or 3 weeks to find out the winner of the grand final organically, didn't it?
Yeah, so we do this every year where I care about AFL so little, and all of my social media apps know this, that I actually organically don't see any AFL related content in my newsfeed ever. So we just thought we'd run an experiment. We've been doing it for the last, I think, 2 years of just how long will it take me to find out when the grand final is, who's playing in it, and who won without me like manually looking it up. Like, can I find it on my newsfeed? And I would say that this experiment this year went so well that I didn't even realize that I was part of the experiment until the grand final when Luke texted me.
Well, we were messaging about something else. And then I just go, kind of as a joke, because I knew you wouldn't be aware of it. I said, I assume you're really excited for the big game. And this is like 5 minutes before the first bounce. And then Lewis messages me back going, you streaming? Question mark. Like the rest of the country is like stopped at their TV, ready to watch the first bounce of, let's be honest, a fairly historical grand final. First ever night grand final at the Gabba because of obviously COVID restrictions. It's usually played in Melbourne at the MCG. And even whether you thought it was a good spectacle or not, it was definitely worth tuning in for purely for the novelty of it. And Lewis actually didn't know it was on.
I found out about the grand final, one happening at all, about half an hour after you sent me that text, because I jumped on Instagram and I was watching stories. I think I saw Blake Pavey doing
It was also on my story as well, because then you replied
yours
to my story going, oh, this is what you were talking about. I was confused because I just you streaming, and I went, ha, 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 ha. And then you sent me an angry face, and I go to Meg like, is that a joke? I don't know. I don't get it. I was so confused.
All I knew was that you were obviously fucking with me, and I was like, what's this game? I thought, the next episode of Luke and Lewis, there's going to be some fucking thing about me. And I was right. I just didn't know it was the fucking AFL grand final. So
I want to know. So I have a few questions because it was the weekend of grand finals. Firstly, I know you saw it on my Instagram story. Do you remember who was playing?
Yeah. So here's my timeline. I found out about the grand final half an hour after it had started.
But you knew. Did you know it was going to be a night game this year, or that they were still doing it?
I knew that it wasn't going to be in Melbourne. That's it. I didn't know where it was going to be or what time.
Yeah, right.
So I found out about the game on your story, and then I recognized, I think on Blake Pavey's story, I saw something about Geelong. So I found out that Geelong was in the grand final.
But my story was who's going to win, and then the two teams being a poll.
I just saw a football scarf or some shit and got out of it. I got out of there. I was like, nah, not interested.
Luke, I think on your poll it said, didn't it say like Cats or
Tigers?
I went sport. Yeah.
Oh
okay, yeah. But Lewis wouldn't.
I don't think Lewis
I know
knows.
Tigers are in it now, but yeah, that's my thing. I don't know. I don't necessarily know the animals that correlate to the team. So I knew that Geelong was Cats. And I now know that Tigers is Richmond. But I only knew that because of weren't they in last year's grand final?
Yes.
Yeah, they were in that.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you know who won? Have you got wind of who won yet?
I'm vaguely confident that Geelong won. No?
What would lead you to that assumption?
How come you got to that conclusion?
I think I saw something about someone complaining about how many grand finals the Tigers had won. So I assumed, hadn't Richmond won a bunch of them in a row?
Yeah, they've won 3 out of 4 of the last 4 years.
That's what I read. I read 3 out of 4. So I was like, they must have lost this one. The fourth one was the loss? This one?
No. They lost. They lost.
Oh, they won this one.
Yeah, they won this one, but they lost a couple of years ago. They didn't even make it to the grand final a couple of years ago. They lost in the prelim.
That's why. Yeah, I read something about they'd won 3 out of 4. So I was like, so they lost this one, is what I assumed.
Yeah, in like 20... Was it last year, 28? I'm getting my years mixed up. But yeah, where Collingwood beat it, whatever. You don't care. But yeah, anyway, they didn't make the grand final a couple of years back. And that was the reason, was probably why they lost, because they probably would have won it. But anyway, that's crazy that you saw... I guess that's fair enough that you assumed that they lost this year. Now, there was another big grand final this weekend. I'm not even too across it, the NRL one. Do you have any idea who played?
I saw a lot of the NRL one because all of my rapper mates from Sydney love NRL. So I saw it all in their stories. So I don't know. The
I
problem
love the yearly quiz. It's so good.
I don't know a lot of the NRL teams. It was like one of them was green and something. I don't know. I don't know the teams, but I don't think that's me not noticing. I think that's my lack of general knowledge about NRL because I'm from Melbourne.
Well, we had it. Well, that's the thing. Melbourne Storm won it, and we're playing with it.
Yeah,
so
Storm.
I thought
Storm. I saw that. I'd know that.
I thought you might have got wind of it because of they were from Melbourne.
No. This is all exclusively through all my Western Sydney rapper mates that I've seen all of this.
And this one's a really long shot, but to hear who won the netball.
The netball.
There was 3 grand finals this weekend. I even got wind of a third the netball grand final. I did get wind of who won.
Isn't that a sport played by women?
Yes.
Oh, of course not.
The Vixens took home the win. So three Melbourne's teams won a grand final this weekend. It was a big weekend for Melbourne.
Teams. Oh,
yeah, the Vixens
I
are
was
from
like,
Melbourne.
wait, how could 3 Melbourne teams win one netball grand final?
Across all the sports, three
That
Melbourne
is how
teams took home a
sport
grand
works.
final win.
I thought you were just about to tell me that 3 people can win a netball game. I was like, fuck. I don't know anything about sport. You're about to blow my mind there.
I should have just ran with it, going like, so 6 people play off in the grand final.
Dude,
3
honestly,
teams win.
if you got in early enough, you could tell me who's won the grand final next year, and I'd be like, oh, yeah.
Well, if I said to you like mid-March, like, man, did you watch the AFL grand final on the weekend? Would you go along with it and be like, oh, nah, I missed it? Like, fuck.
Nah, I know it's not early in the year. I know it's later in the year. But that's all
good.
I know. So yeah,
But,
I don't know. That's how little I know about any kind of AFL thing. I just don't care about it and I don't look at
I
it.
think I have to open the door. Hang on.
Oh, who the fuck would leave during a podcast to go and answer their door?
Unbelievable.
That's absolutely unprofessional behavior, and I won't stand for it. That's why I'm sitting. Ruben?
Yes, I'll stand for it, I suppose, because I am standing.
Yeah, you are standing.
Usually I wouldn't.
Who is
Make an
it?
exception.
It was Meg.
Meg. She doesn't have keys to her own house?
Yeah, why didn't she have keys?
She
Because
just go and ask her and let us know.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
It seems a little bit like another disruption if I could go and ask her, but I can.
No, I feel like it's more disruptive to like not know the answer to that question. All the listeners don't want to be left hanging. Why do you boys think she doesn't have the keys? I'm thinking that she probably just forgot them.
Yeah.
Or maybe
Meg, she just forgot
maybe
them.
her hands were full.
My question is, why was the door locked? This isn't
well,
Frankston.
Security.
Oh, true.
Not a
I was gonna
great
say, of course
reason.
you'd- Hands full or forgot them?
Couldn't find them. Just laziness. Stinks of laziness to me.
Wild card. Well, that's good. I'm glad that we've worked that out. You know, I would say that was a step up from the bloody AFL segment. Who cares about footy? Boring.
Well, I wanted to keep going with the. I have no interest in discussing the actual sport, but
I know one thing about sport. I know a sport thing that happened. Khabib retired from the UFC because his father died.
I saw.
Yeah, that's very.
I didn't know
sad.
the reason.
It's probably because his father died. He was his coach, and he seemed to do everything for his dad. So very sad.
That's sad.
And we'll never see that Connor rematch, unfortunately.
Yeah. Was that a good one? Was it Keelan?
I was a sympathy laugh. Sorry, guys.
A sympathy laugh. Oh,
well, I
my
don't
dad's
need your
died.
fucking pity.
No, because you said the thing about Connor and no one responded, so I just thought I'd fill the silence.
Well, it wasn't a
Lewis
joke. It
does
didn't
need your
need it. It
pity.
didn't need a laugh at all. It was just a
You
thing.
said it like a joke.
Okay.
Okay, let's
I
move
think
on,
you
let's move on.
misread that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Luke, you have more sports?
Well, no, I wanted to discuss the halftime entertainment to do with the footy, right? I'm not too interested in discussing the game. It was a good game, whatever. But my thing every year with the AFL and any grand final halftime show is people complain, it seems, no matter what. Like, you cannot please everyone.
You can't expect a good halftime show at the fucking AFL or the NRL grand final. It's Australia.
Yeah.
There's no budget. They don't have any balls, so they're not going to put anyone even remotely controversial. It'll be like some cunt who came third in some shit talent competition singing a song they didn't write. That's what we get, and that's what we deserve.
Literally, like, that was pretty much the vibe. So
Oh, really?
I saw some, 7 News on Instagram or 7 AFL or whatever. They posted up some post that it was like they wanted to be flamed on the internet.
Yeah.
They posted up a picture after it went to air saying, so what did everyone think of the AFL pre-game entertainment? And I saw that comment section. I saw it already had 500 comments and I was like, here we go.
Let's dive in. Sometimes you got to roll up your sleeves and see some vitriol.
Oh, it was brutal. And a lot of the comments and it's our own fault as Australians, as a collective, for expecting something good every year. There was a lot of comments saying the Super Bowl halftime show was better. No shit. They have 10 times the
Beyonce?
amount of people. Yes, they get like Beyonce, Maroon 5, Coldplay. Like, they get all the biggest artists in the world. We've got fucking the guy from Wolf Mother, right, and Shepherd, who are essentially a Hillsong Christian rock band. All right? You're not going to get much better than that here. Like, that's the top. And Amy Shark was already doing the NRL grand final. So pickings were slim.
That's
Apparently,
true. That would have been good.
Yeah, well, Powderfinger asked for $1 million and the AFL said no. And then they got some Brisbane Triple J band to do a Powderfinger cover.
No way!
And
they wanted Powderfinger that bad. They go, oh, we don't need Powderfinger. We just want their song.
And literally, they got a band called Cub Sport who were not received well. I don't know a lot about them. I get it. They wanted to get a local Brisbane band. DMAs, I'm not going to trash because they're a great band, but they did like one cover, that Believe cover that they did on like a version, and then they did one of their originals, and I think they're a great band, but they do not fit the pre-game hype vibe. Like, they're an acoustic
No, Powderfinger would have
kind
been
of
perfect.
band. Yeah. And Wolf Mother, like, wasn't even Wolf Mother. It was the guy from Wolf Mother who looks like Red Foo and a studio band, because the band's broken up now. And they did Joker and the Thief, which kind of redeemed it a little bit at the end.
That's a good pre-game song, for sure.
They had so many fireworks and like stuff that it was such a overcast day that all the fireworks went off and it just filled the stadium with smoke. And it didn't even look good.
sucks.
It just made the whole stadium look hazy for 10 minutes. And the symphony, they did have the Queensland Symphony Orchestra.
That's cool.
Which redeemed it a little bit
Yeah.
in the background. But overall, can we just stop pretending like it's ever going to be good?
No.
People always go, oh, at least it wasn't as bad as Meatloaf. At least people fucking remember Meatloaf. You know?
I think he contributed a lot to our culture. Not a good performance, but to our culture, he left his mark, and that's all you can really ask for.
It's the most Australian thing ever. Like, we all have something to look back on as a nation going, that was a good one. That was weird. Remember
that was very strange, wasn't it? That was the only AFL thing I heard about during the AFL on social media.
Dude, since then, it's been nothing but unmemorable international acts. There was Ellie Goulding. Do you remember one time? The only reason why I remember that the Black Eyed Peas came is because we stole will.i.am's chocolate at the radio station.
Oh, that's right. We
Remember
did.
that?
Yeah.
When
Had
the
Tones
Black
and I
Eyed...
last year.
Oh, Tones and I, yeah.
Yeah.
I forget. Was that good? I don't know. Don't remember.
No,
and
it
they also had
was
Lenny
forgettable.
Kravitz. And
Why
you're
do
like, oh,
they
he
fly
still
over
sings.
these obscure American acts that it's like just, oh, who can we afford? Like,
I
why
think
don't they just
this year
pay
was-
Powderfinger $1 million?
It's funny because it's like you say that, like, why do they fly over these international acts? And then you watch it this year, you're like, yeah, fuck, they
Why
should
didn't
probably
they?
fly over the Black Eyed Peas again.
Yeah.
But I agree.
that's
You
why.
should just pay like a good Australian band. Here's what I think. I've got a way we can fix the pre-game and halftime entertainment. Shepherd were pretty good, by the way. They were just
they were.
radiating too much positivity, and it was weird. It's freaking me out. You can't be that positive all the time. You can't have green hair and be radiating that many good vibes. Fuck off.
Nah,
So-
it's also a sport game. Like, we want to see some blood, basically, especially the NRL. I reckon they should have
Yeah.
had 1-4 do the NRL grand final. We some lads in the hood talking about stabbing
Yeah.
people at train stations. That would have been fucking sick. And they all look like rugby players too. It would have fit in.
Yeah, it would have hit home with the audience more.
Yeah.
But I've got a way. They should do one relatively newer band in case they suck, right?
Yep.
Like you
Yep.
get a DMAs or a Triple J type popular act, and you also get like one old band. For example, you combine like a newer band with AC/DC, you know,
Oh,
or
yeah?
get Powderfinger, get
Yeah.
Jimmy Barnes, get like whenever you get an old band, like Hunters and Collectors were great a few years ago. Jimmy Barnes went off. I just think, or you get John Farnham back. You know,
I think they
you're
just
the voice.
rotate it every single year. They just rotate the NRL and the AFL, just swap every year. So every 2 years, one of them gets Johnny Farnham or...
Yeah, and the other one
or-
gets Daryl Braithwaite or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, and they just go every 2 years, you get like one of those two, and they do the same set over and over again, just swapping.
Because the only consistently good thing about the entertainment is the bloke that sings Up There Kazali. Like, it's actually the only redeemable part, and it's the tradition every year. It's
Yeah.
like the only thing they can fall back on at this point. They're like, at least it won't suck, you know?
Exactly.
So, AFL, yeah, you should have paid Powderfinger $1 million. It was pretty bad, to be honest.
Do you guys
But-
remember? Sorry, yep. No, finish off. 'cause
no,
I have
that's
something
it. No.
Oh, great. Okay. This is slightly off topic, but for last year's Melbourne Cup, they booked Taylor Swift to play one song.
Did she come and do it?
No, eventually it was cancelled, but that was like it was one of the most bizarre stories I've ever heard. She flew,
Yeah, that's
she was
right.
going
I
to
think
fly
she
all
was-
the way in.
Didn't they cancel it because people found out how much money she would have been paid and they got mad?
No,
Is that why?
allegedly she pulled out, but I think there might have been a reason for it, something like that.
I
Yeah, it was a
swear the
scheduling
vibe
error.
was, why the fuck would you book this person and pay this much money and then she pulled out? But that's
Yeah.
the vibe that I got.
She was going to play one song.
Yeah, and
Isn't
you
that
know
the
she would have
craziest
gotten like
thing you've ever
3
heard?
million or something stupid. I mean, yeah, imagine like that's like us getting on an 18-hour flight to do one joke. And then going home. Like, no
Then getting $1
warm-up,
million
no
for
opening
it.
act. Just like, hey, guys, you know, this is how I used to wank. Bye.
Also, the Melbourne Cup, it's one of those things where it's like, I guess a lot of people watch it around the world, and that's what they're going for, I guess.
Oh,
It's
that's
like,
true.
We got Taylor Swift. But the actual vibe at Flemington is not, like, it's how many people go to the races? Is it like 100,000?
No idea.
Maybe a lot of people do. I don't know. Whenever I've been to Flemington, I guess I haven't been to Melbourne Cup Day. I've only ever been to like a few other big
Doesn't
meets.
seem that
it's not,
big.
It's not that big, and it's so spread out that it's like you're actually performing to like a real small portion of the crowd because the straight's so long.
That's right. This is what I saw. So she pulled out, and there was a huge backlash about animal cruelty, which I think a big portion of her fan base is and care about. But it could have been an actual thing.
So there was a bunch of American white girls on Twitter cancelled her performance here.
Yeah, I think that
Yeah, right.
could have been it. She just would have gone, you know what? Maybe horse racing is fucked and I don't need the money.
Dude, I forgot Spring Carnival was happening until my neighbor started telling me the
Wait,
other day
when?
that he's been punting
When
on
did
it.
it happen?
It's just been happening. Spring Carnival's on.
Now?
Yeah, Caulfield and Flemington. There's just no crowds. They're running it.
Oh.
Didn't,
fuck.
yeah, I forgot about it because I just, I
there
usually go.
Melbourne Cup?
Or
When's
Melbourne
that?
Cup is happening.
that's next week.
Oh, fuck.
So,
Yeah, it was Cox played on the weekend. I think there's already been a few pretty big meets happen, and
You know
'cause
what
I don't
might be
watch
weird?
TV,
Maybe I wonder if the horses will go faster if there's no crowds, or they'll go slower.
do they ever time? It's not like a timed thing. Do they ever do like records, like where they're like, oh, that's the
They're
new
races,
record?
of course. They're timed.
Surely. Yeah.
It's just about who wins because it's just all about the prize money. They don't care about the times.
I guess.
They must be timing them though.
Yeah.
Oh,
if
they
there-
are
if
timing
there's a
them,
world
but it's
record,
like
they would. They
They
do
never
it.
talk about like, oh, that's a new PB from whatever horse, because it's all about like how
Oh,
you run
maybe.
the race, like sit at the back. It's not necessarily about who
That's true.
runs
It's
the
not.
fastest.
Yeah, it's not really. It's not fastest. It's just first. Because if you try
Yeah,
to go
it's
fastest,
about how you
might
win
just
it.
kill the horse.
Yes, but anyway, sport and Luke and Lewis. That's weird that happened for 20 minutes.
Isn't that weird? Well done, guys.
I mean, we kind of just talked about Taylor Swift and Powderfinger,
Yeah.
but still not very on brand. And I'm proud of us.
Speaking of
for
times,
giving it a
that's going to be a personal best for us. 20 minutes on sport without one of us going, "Oh, this is shit." It's actually quite an interesting discussion.
Yes. Well, anyway, so that was my take from the weekend. I watched television. What did you guys do?
I watched Borat, which we're going to talk about later.
Yeah, right. Or just now. Now's later, dude.
Okay, I watched Borat. I fucking loved it. I thought it was so good. The second one, Amazon Prime. By the way, if you get Amazon Prime, you should sub to Luke or I with your free Prime sub on Twitch. It's free and it
can
gives us
also-
cash.
You can also watch my special on there as well, even though I'd prefer if you purchased it at lukehidgel.com for cash. But it is on there as well if you're a cheapskate. So I went into Borat with kind of like weird expectations because I'd seen a few people trashing it, but I was really excited about it.
I tried to stay. Yeah, I was excited about it, and I tried to stay away from it completely because I saw one post about like I saw like one post about a right wing guy trashing it, and then a left wing guy trashing him, and I was like, I don't want to be poisoned by that discussion before I watch it. Because that's what happens with
I just saw a few
everything
people I
now.
know
Left-wing people love
tweeting
it,
about it.
right-wing people hate it, or the opposite. And then you put in your head, even if you don't agree, you put the film in a box and it poisons the experience. So I stayed away from all of that and just watched it.
I'm a grown up, so I just what I did with, and a lot of people are probably unfamiliar with the concept, but I actually formed my own opinion of a thing without listening to others.
That's
and
good.
I fucking loved it. It was
Yes.
it was great. So what I did was I watched the original right before it because I realized I hadn't seen the original since I was quite young, and I was so young at the time. I didn't remember much of it, but B, I don't think at the time I realized that it was like real. So like I don't think I realized that it was a stunt because someone just would have been like, "You got to watch this movie, Borat." I was clearly too young to understand it, because it came out in 2006. Like I probably was like 10 or 12 when I watched it, and I just
I
don't
think I watched it till I was. I would have been like 15.
Yeah,
So
I just don't think
got
I
it.
fully grasped the concept of that. I thought it was all set up because
Yeah.
in my mind, you would never run around a hotel naked with your fat mate when you're 12. I was like, oh, this is a movie and that's crazy. So
Well,
rewatching
it starts off set up, and so does the second one.
Yes.
So child brain just goes, oh, the whole thing is that.
Yeah. So then watching it back, I love the first one because I was like, hey, I haven't seen it in years. Fucking so funny. And then going straight into the second one afterwards, I just did 2 in a row last night, had a binge. I thought the second one was way better.
Really? I
Yeah,
loved
it was-
the second one. I still think the first one was better just because of how... Just
They're very-
because the second one he was hindered by Borat being famous. But he
Yes.
handled that in a really interesting way by bringing in the girl to do a lot of stunts. I just thought the first one was better purely because it seemed like he could do anything he wanted to do. The second one, he was hindered a little bit by being famous, but I still thought it was fucking hilarious.
I mean, the first one is like, there's some bits in it, and there's some bits in the second one. It's like Sacha Baron Cohen. What's his name? Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yeah.
Yeah, Baron or Barra?
Yeah, Baron.
Baron?
Sacha
I've
Baron
actually
Cohen.
never watched. I've never watched much of his shit before ever. I've realized. Like I watched a little bit of that Who's America and stuff.
You should watch it.
and-
And his old stuff's great. He did Borat before the movie. Borat's from his TV show.
Yeah, right. It seems like it's really evolved in the 14 years between the first Borat and the second one, because the first one is not really trying to prove it, or like it's not trying to push a political agenda. It's not trying to like make you think at all. The first one is just lowbrow, like gross. Oh, look, there's an asshole in his face. Like it's pretty smutty lowbrow humor, the first one, but there is something lovable about it. The second one,
the first one is just subtler in the because a lot of the criticism I saw was that the second one's too political is what I saw a lot of right-wing people say. But I think it was always political. It was definitely subtler. The first one was just making fun of American politics or America's culture in general. You know, when he goes to that rodeo and starts singing George Bush
That
should drink
bit
the
was
blood
amazing.
of children. Like, that's political. That was a comment about the Iraq War and how Americans will cheer for war crimes if it's from them and not the other way around. I thought that was like a political thing. I think the second one it's more political, but not as much as people are saying. I think that we have become way more political because of social media.
yes, but it is definitely like trying to. It
Yes.
does. It points out a lot of problems with America. Both of the films do. It just points it out in a glaringly obvious way. You're right. It's way less subtle. Some of the things were so confronting that it was like real. You know what I mean? Like,
What part? We'll try not to
when he-
spoil it, by the way.
he goes to like a pro gun rally. And just there's people like, I'm not going to spoil it, but there's people like saluting Hitler, and like he manipulates. Well, he's not even manipulating. These people just already like that, but more just
He brings
like
it out of them, basically.
Yeah. He kind of makes them like cheer for really fucked up stuff, and it just like shows like we live in a very good part of the world here in Australia, where I don't think our culture is nearly as divisive as theirs is in general. Like there's two extremes to theirs. Our extremes seem to be a little closer together than America's, because
America, you know, some parts of the country are like different countries culturally. We don't
it just
really
shocked me.
have that.
It's something we don't think about that much, and obviously you know it exists, but it's just like, fuck, these people are real people that exist, and this is crazy that no one else is talking about this that regularly. You know, unless you're on Twitter looking for it.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It was so cool though. That girl who he got I thought it was such a cool way. I would imagine, as someone who's done similar stuff of like hoaxy, stunty shit, there are so many jokes that you can't do because of who you are, you know? So I bet like getting a girl in opens up a whole new avenue of humor that Sacha just couldn't do because he's a man, and could never convincingly pull off a woman either. He's so tall and so broad. He, you know, like just shit like being able to seduce people or being able to go to an abortion clinic and this and that. Like so many
was really
hilarious things that he's never done before because he is not a woman. He was able to do, which I thought was great.
And the thing that I loved about some of my favorite moments were the stupid moments. There's one bit where he just cuts this old guy's hair with like shearing scissors, and for some reason that amused me so much. It was just so dumb. And then there was another bit, I don't even know if you caught it. Meg and I had to rewind it, where they're at the Botox clinic, like they're at the cosmetic place, and he just farts. And you see,
I heard that. Yeah.
you see the girl like for real laugh because he just is playing this dirty old man, and he clearly just had a fart coming, and he just let it rip, and then he keeps talking and doesn't break character. And I was like, that's the funniest thing he's ever done. Just talking to some lady about buying a pair of fake tits for his made up daughter, and then he farts mid sentence and then goes, "What?"
Yeah, the fact that it's like a real fart makes it so much because you can't
so
plan
funny.
that. You can't do anything like that. You can't even. The funniness is also the girl doesn't know it's happening and she has to not
She
laugh.
laughs.
Yeah.
She can tell. She goes.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a
Man,
couple
there was some
moments
great
where
moments.
she laughs because that would be such a hard because I've done that stuff before where you're pretending to be someone and manipulating somebody else and you can't break character for a second. So to be thrown into like he's like Usain Bolt of doing that shit and she's just some amateur and he goes, all right, keep up with me. It would be so difficult to keep up with him. Like there was another part where she almost breaks where they go to a bakery and she goes, what do you want me to write on the cake? And he goes, Jews will not replace us. If you watch her, she almost laughs there as well.
And the lady fucking writes it. This is like those little things in the film where I'm just like, oh my God, some people like America's just a different place. It's not all of America, just some of it. Particularly, they make fun of the South a lot. He does target the same demographic a lot throughout his work. But one thing, I did a little bit of research on that gun rally thing last night, and he was wearing a bulletproof vest underneath, and apparently he said he was lucky to make it out of there alive. He got dragged out of the car, so they tried to go in a getaway car. Their crowd eventually turned on him, which obviously wasn't put in the movie. And then apparently they opened the door, tried to drag him out of the car and beat the shit out of him, and he had to like pull himself back in while the car was moving and fight people off.
So scary. That's like that other one when he did Bruno, he almost caused a riot. Like he legit would have almost died if they caught him. He caused a full-on riot have you seen Bruno?
No, I haven't seen hardly any of his stuff.
You should watch Bruno. I don't think it's as good as Borat, but it's hilarious in a completely different way. He plays like a super, super gay guy.
Right.
And like the movie ends where they set up this big like wrestling that's not WWE, but there's a whole audience in like a stadium almost, and he starts wrestling this other guy, and they're the main event. And then they just stop wrestling and they just start making out and kissing, and it's disgusting, like so fucking porno gross. And the whole crowd just erupts. They're furious. They start climbing the walls and trying to break in. And the behind the scenes of it was they had like a trapdoor in the ring that they went through that led to a tunnel that had a getaway car, and they caused a riot so bad that they almost didn't make it out of there, and it was crazy dangerous. And that was the one time where he thought, fuck, I might not actually make it out of this unhurt.
Oh my God.
So scary.
Yeah.
That guy has balls, man. That stuff is so
I respect
amazing.
the lengths. I respect the lengths that they go to get people to agree to be on camera. The producing work is phenomenal of all of his work.
The stuff you don't see, to be a producer. Because when I did Spears vs. America, I had one guy, Connor, and a lot of the stuff you don't see is the first thing that happens is actually not me convincing people. It's Connor convincing these people that they are a completely different film team to what they actually are. So like the behind the scenes producers almost have to be better actors than me, because by the time they get to me, they're pretty much sold on the idea. I just have to like get them to do the shit. The producers are the real actors that kind of do that, convince these people.
You know, just before we finish off, because we have been going for a while, but you know the bit in the new one, I won't spoil it, but he ends up, there's a part of the film where he goes to stay with two like right-wing extremist guys. He stayed in that house. He lived with them for 5 days, apparently. It was only about 5-10 minutes of the movie. I got that vibe
that it was days,
He said he lived with them for 5 days in character as Borat and just convinced them that he was this like random backpacker. And then
So
That's
they
how, like-
weren't actors at all. Those were ones that got like when he went to the gun rally.
When he went to the
I
Valley,
thought they
I-
might be in on it a little bit.
Yes. I think that's when they had to tell them. I don't think they were fully in on it because therefore they wouldn't have agreed to do it. I think they said, no, look, we are filming this documentary and he is going to dress up at a rally. But I don't think they
Okay,
told him that
yeah.
they were mocking them. They wouldn't have told them because they were pro the rally, right? So they wouldn't
Yeah.
have told them that they were going to be there to mock it.
Yeah,
They-
it's
they-
like
they
this, it's so
told him half the
interesting how they do that. It is that whole vibe of half truths. Like a lot of these people would be told, "Oh, we are filming a documentary about
Yeah.
this foreign guy," and they would tell them like, "There's going to be a lot of cultural differences. Just try and be respectful because he doesn't properly understand American culture, so he's going to do weird things." So they'll be they're like 60% to the truth, which makes them act like they do. It's such a interesting way to pull
I
off
just
those
fucking
things.
I love the difference between the types of humor in those films. It's like really political, proving a point, and then just the lowbrow, smuttiest shit I've ever seen on camera. Like him just watching porn on fucking Bluetooth in a camera store. It's just like so. It's not even like
clever you can think of.
It's not even clever, and yet I was just losing my mind, going like, "This is so stupid." It's so funny.
The one where
It's
he
just
goes
good.
to the fax machine and he gets faxed a picture of like this disgusting flaccid penis is so fucking good.
Yeah, it's fucking funny. So yeah, we would recommend you watch it. Go give it a gaze. People have been asking us all week on the streams what if we're going to watch
Yeah.
it and what our thoughts are. So we wanted to talk about it on the show.
I
so we
thought
can
it was
refer them
great.
to
And
this.
like as someone who does a similar type of shit to like the stunty, hoaxy shit, it's so inspiring and amazing. It's really cool. I'd love to do something like that one day.
Yep. Now, just I know we've been gone for a while, but just to kind of end it on a lighter note. Well, actually, it's not really. Ruben, we got a follow-up email regarding the Weet-Bix discussion on last week's Park episode.
This is
Yes,
not going to
we
be a
did.
light note.
Find it for you.
So, just to recap, last week, listener of our show, we love all our listeners, but we hate your breakfast habits.
Sorry, I just want to step in there. All of them.
Well, we love
Chicken
5% of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. 5%. We there's a 5%.
I would say
of-
we don't hate any of you, and we don't dislike any of you, but we definitely don't
No.
love all of you. You know what I mean? Like there's a big like for most
Yeah.
of you. Love, it's a bit of a strong word for me. I'm sorry.
Just statistically, some of you are shitty people. Like, because there's thousands of people listen to this podcast, right? And not everyone's a good person.
Statistically,
So-
I'm kind of a shitty person, so don't feel bad.
Yeah, I mean, on this show, there's barely any likable people present. So it attracts, it doesn't really attract an audience of very likable people either. So we're not blaming you. We're the source of the problem. So, anyway, we got an email from a listener and they were talking about the way they eat Weet-Bix, and it was essentially, instead of putting milk in, cold milk, which is how Weet-Bix, I guess, is supposed to be eaten, it was boiling water on Weet-Bix and raw sugar.
Disgusting.
It's so bland. You've got the most generic boy in the world abusing you for how boring that is. Like, that
Oh, yeah.
sucks, dude.
Absolutely filthy.
Now,
yeah.
Ruben, we had a follow-up.
Yeah, so a different person. This is from Amy. She just wanted to reach out to tell us how she makes her Weet-Bix, which is similar, but I would say even worse. So here's what she says.
Okay.
I get 3 Weet-Bix, pour boiling water over the top, mix it up, then a splash of cold milk, and mix that in too, with some sugar until my Weet-Bix has turned into a soup-like consistency.
Oh, soup. So that's like
Apparently.
heaps of liquid. That's disgusting.
Yeah, so it's Weet-Bix and water, but like she's mushed it up,
But
so
she's-
it's like a soup. But then
she's putting a little-
she's putting a little bit of milk in.
She's
well,
treating
that's
it like a tea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's Amy. I don't think that's breakfast. I think that's an eating disorder.
You're treating it like a beverage.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't
you're
like
not
that.
treating it like a meal, and that's what bothers me. The people are putting water in it. You're treating it like 2-minute noodles, and it freaks me out. I don't like it.
You know what?
And-
When we come back in studio, I think we've been doing a lot of trashing of Weet-Bix on water. I think we're going to have to give it a go to really test it out.
It's wheat and water. Dude.
That's like what peasants would eat
Yeah.
when if the fucking trade routes got disrupted by a famine or a war. They'd be like, oh, we've got wheat, but we don't have milk from the farm down the road. I guess we'll have to just drink this strange soup.
Yeah, it's rations. That's what people are
Yeah.
having by choice.
Yeah.
2020's gotten pretty grim.
We're gonna
People are
have to
just
try it.
pouring-
That'll be the first meal back in the studio.
Damn. Amy, come on. Fuck. Yeah,
Fine.
all right.
We're
Fine.
gonna end it there. I thought we were
Great.
ending on a high note, Luke.
Yeah,
I told
well,
you
I
this was going
thought
to
it
be
was gonna
low.
I just thought it would be funny, but it's just making me angry, and now I'm pissed off. So, guys,
Thanks for listening.
whatever. Watch
Support us on
Borat.
Patreon if you want 2 bonus episodes every single month. Luke and I are also streaming on Twitch all throughout the week. My wife. So if you want to come check us out, that would be great. And we will see you very soon. Bye.
Great
And now-
success.
Wah wah wee wah.